Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Hier ist eine neue Folge von Radikal Glücklich, deinem Podcast für ein hoffentlich strahlendes, gut gelauntes Leben, so gut es geht. Folge 158 hat einen besonderen Gast, Lisa Pauley. After a short German introduction, there will be the English episode. Ihr hört schon, Lisa ist Engländerin. Wir sprechen also gleich auf Englisch. Und darum habe ich für euch im Blogpost zu dieser Folge ein bisschen was zusammengefasst. Ihr könnt uns sogar auf YouTube sehen, auch den Link versuche ich in die Shownotes zu packen. Und ihr findet ihn auf jeden Fall im Blogpost zur Folge, okay? Ich habe mit Lisa gesprochen darüber, wie wir uns entwickeln. How to evolve heißt die Folge. Und ich habe sie durch Zufall gefunden, muss ich sagen. Und bevor ich mehr über sie und unser Gespräch erzähle, kurz etwas, warum ich mich entschieden habe, diese Folge heute zu senden. Ich habe sie letzte Woche aufgenommen und sie war geplant für diese Woche. Und ich habe dann mit mir gerungen, ob ich etwas sagen soll zu der aktuellen Lage in der Ukraine, zu der Angst, die gerade in vielen von uns umgeht, zu der Präsenz, die wir brauchen, um bei uns zu sein, zu der Ablegen von Anspannung, was wir brauchen, um ein Licht zu strahlen in unserem Leben, sodass wir helfen können, sodass wir den Frieden in uns tragen und ihn so vergrößern können. Und ich habe mich genau deshalb entschieden, dass Lisa heute die Richtige ist, im Podcast zu sein. Ich hatte mit ihr ein 1:1. Ich habe es mir privat gekauft, also es ist jetzt keine Werbeveranstaltung oder so, und ich habe sie gebeten, danach in meinen Podcast zu kommen, weil ich wie auf Wolken gelaufen bin. Sie nutzt ätherische Öle an bestimmten Akupressurpunkten und sie macht Sound Healing. Das heißt, sie hat diese kristallenen großen Schüsseln, ich kann es nicht besser erklären, mit denen man dann so oben lang geht. Ich bin selber noch kein Profi, wie man hier hört, sondern totaler Laie. Und man hört sich das an mit so Stereo-Kopfhörern und es war, als wäre ich bei ihr im Raum und ich hatte das Gefühl, es geht durch meinen ganzen Körper und ich habe mich gefühlt wie auf Wolken. Ich hatte vorher schon sie hat so ein paar Musikstücke aufgenommen auch. Ich habe das mit der Nature und das hatte ich mit auf meinen Flügen in die USA und wieder nach Hause im Januar und das hat mir total geholfen, mit dem Flug gut klarzukommen. Also falls du auch das Gefühl hast, du brauchst irgendwie eine sanfte Art, dich zu entspannen jetzt gerade, du brauchst irgendwie eine extra Portion, check das aus. Ich verlinke ein YouTube-Video im Blogpost. Sie hat vor kurzem ein Soundbath bei YouTube geteilt und das ist gratis für jeden, also muss gar nichts kaufen. Und ich hoffe, es tut euch einfach gut. Mir tut's gut gerade, zu diesen ganzen Tools zu finden, zu den Ölen, zu meiner Meditation, zu Yoga, zu gutem Essen, zu einer Art Erdung in meinem täglichen Leben, um mit den Nachrichten, die es gibt, klarzukommen, um zu überlegen, wie ich helfen kann, wie ich nützlich sein kann und all dies. Und ich hoffe darum, dass es euch auch so geht. Zu Lisa sei gesagt, sie nennt sich selber Modern Holistic Practitioner, also sie arbeitet ganzheitlich, sie verbindet Atempraxis, Öle, ihr Wissen rund um Wechseljahre mit ihrer Arbeit, also sie begleitet Frauen insbesondere dabei auf ihrem Weg der Entwicklung, wo auch immer sie gerade stehen, müssen nicht die Wechseljahre sein. Und sie sagt im Interview, dass wir alle erwachen sollten zu der Ganzheit, die wir sind. Und ich glaube persönlich, wenn wir das tun, dann erkennen wir, dass wir immer die andere sind, immer auch der andere sind. Und ich glaube, dass hier der Friede beginnt. Also tauche ein bisschen ein in ein englisches Gespräch mit meinem etwas rostigen Englisch, möchte ich mal sagen. Ich glaube, wir sind trotzdem gut zu verstehen. Und lass dich inspirieren dazu, was nötig ist, damit du in deine Kraft kommst. Falls du noch mehr eigene Kraft brauchst, Achtung, ganz kurzer Werbebeitrag. Am Sonntag, den 6.3. ist das erste Live im Ready to Rise in meinem großen Spiritual Leadership Training. Und hier geht's darum, gerade an dem Sonntag wird's darum gehen, wie kannst du die Liebe wählen statt die Angst? Wie kannst du aus dem Herzen was aufbauen statt aus dem Ego? Falls du noch dabei sein willst, spring rein. Es lohnt sich. Es wird wunderbar. Der Link ist auch unten in den Shownotes und im Blogpost. Liebe Grüße und viel Spaß bei der Folge. Teil sie, wenn sie dir gut gefällt. So I am happy to have a special guest today, Lisa Pauley. I found her, as I told in the German introduction, on Instagram one day, and I fell in love with her Instagram account. So if you haven't noticed it yet, you need to come. I will link it in the show notes. And we had a one-on-one session, which was just beautiful. So Lisa, that led me to the idea that I need you in my podcast because I love your work. And I love how you, I think, help women to evolve. So before we get deeper into that topic, I would love for you to introduce yourself and maybe as a second question, tell us how this work has evolved for you, how this path has opened for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me. And I am also equally in love with your particular Instagram feed, I just have to say. And yeah, I mean, this work that I feel is really starting to weave together really naturally and holistically is actually, it's I call myself a modern holistic practitioner. And that's pretty vast, and it can really embrace so many different things. But from my side, I feel as though certainly the last few years, a lot of the breadcrumbs from my past are all weaving together, coming together, and it's brought me to this place of offering the journey, the experiences, the work, the passions, the real heart-led explorations, into my body, my spiritual heart, my mind, all of these, all of the parts that make us who we are. This is what I bring to my clients. This is what I bring to my community, and it's as a modern holistic practitioner, because the work I do brings together so many different holistic modalities, including yoga, meditation, breath work, working with incredible energetics of crystal sonic sound healing, essential oils, and also I think the work of really looking at this wholeness of who we are, not as who we give out there and the roles that we play, but actually this, it's all about, let's just gather inwards a moment and come to here, because that's been my journey, Celia, that's my journey. And so I offer almost to walk alongside you on your journey in exploration, in evolvement. And that's what I do. That's how I work one-to-one with clients. That's how I work in community. And it's really about sistering, it's about sistering each other. And that's a long way around describing what I do. But I wonder if that's enough for now.
That is totally fine. Yeah. I love the vocabulary you use as like sisterhood or the wholeness. So when I understood it right, you share your own medicine and you walk along the side. So you don't want to be a guru. You just want to accompany people for a little while.
Absolutely, darling, because we're all on our own unique evolutionary journeys, through whether it's through our hormonal journey, which is an area that I'm specifically working on at the moment, because I'm 50 coming into 51, and I have really embraced my perimenopausal and menopausal experiences over the last 2 or 3 years. And I'm acknowledging that we are all so uniquely different, within our own journeys, within our own bodies, within our own physiology. We are so uniquely different, yet there is this beautiful humanness about us as women, especially. You know, I predominantly work with women, although I do have a number of men that connect with me, and I have to kind of push the menopause kind of focus to one side a little bit. Yeah. But it is that. It's about walking alongside each other and acknowledging our differences, yet acknowledging that we all have this deep desire to come back home, to have this sense of who we are in this world as it is in its chaos and as we are in our chaos. And so absolutely, I'm not anyone's guru. I'm not anyone's, standing up there and telling you all of this. I'm sharing my experiences, and maybe I'm a little bit ahead of you on a journey, on this menopause journey, or maybe I've got more experience in this and I'm bringing that to you to see if you can benefit from that. But I really do feel that there is a real need for, especially for women, to walk arm in arm. And actually, you mentioned about sisterhood, and I specifically use the word sistering because it's the word sistering. It's so beautiful. I discovered years ago that there's it's a piece of furniture. This is a little bit of a tangent, but a sofa. So we, the sofa or settee. I don't know, the word that you use, but we have this sofa and this chair that can hold 3 or 4 seats. And there's a piece of a plank of wood that often goes to hold both ends together. And that joist is called sistering. And it's actually the process, and it's actually a term used to describe how we hold the collective up. And so this joist, this sistering joist, is all about support and holding up together. And I love that we talk about sisterhood and we talk about, being together, but actually the word sistering is about together. We hold each other up, and it's this beautiful joist. And I feel that's what, I truly feel that's what I want to do in the world, is to support women where we feel seen, we feel, we feel that in our uniqueness and in our own unique journeys, that we all bring something so valuable to the table. And we're all, whatever our experiences, of course, we are worthy to be seen, we are worthy to be heard. And it's so much more than just this that we present to the world. And I think that's the juice of the work that I'm really excited about. It's about what we don't see, and it's working with the nuances of that, so energetics and our deep emotions that maybe we hide. And so part of the work I feel really called to share is giving ourselves permission to be truly ourselves. And actually that's so beautiful.
Yes, I think so too. And sorry for the misunderstanding. I thought I heard it wrong.
No, it's not a misunderstanding. It's a similarity. It's sistering and sisterhood. But it's so interesting that there's a definite nuance there with the word sistering. That I love the fact it literally means to hold and to support. So it's not a misunderstanding.
It's a beautiful analogy, I feel. So want to come to 2 things that really interest me right now on what you said. Is that the first thing is, you said that everybody is unique, brings her uniqueness to the table. And so what do you think is to heal so we can truly embrace who we are and stop running after trying to be someone else, trying to fit into a version that we feel is more perfect or more fitting in? You know what I mean? My English is kind of rusty.
Your English is perfect. My German is non-existent, sweetheart. So quite frankly, I am totally in awe of your English. So maybe if I understood your question, I think within our own uniqueness, there are similarities. Our humanness links us together. If one thing that I've learned over these last couple of years is throughout the world, that we are our humanness, our deep desire to have connection and to almost be seen in our vulnerability and our integrity and our strength. There's so many differences that we have in this world. We are all so unique, but there is this underlying desire, this thing of, we all desire to be happy and we all desire to be free from suffering. That's a Buddhist, a Buddhist principle of, we all kind of desire happiness, and we all, we know that actually suffering is inevitable. And so we all suffer, whether that's mental illness, whether that's mental anxieties, whether that's seen, with physical ailments, or whether that's unseen, physical ailments and mental ailments, or heartbreak. There's so much of us that is shared, and I think the amount of connection that we each strive for, that's the same, whether that comes across as being angry or aggressive or cold, or whether it comes across as being really needy and, needing validation. It's just because we want to be connected, either to ourselves or to each other. And in fact, darling, that's one of the biggest, I have these three words came to me so clearly years and years and years ago, which kind of summed up most of my life, actually. And it's very much the kind of the tagline, if you like, of a lot of the things that I do. And it's consciously creating connection. And I know from a child that I was always seeking to feel connection. And now as a woman, as a mature woman moving into midlife, there's this consciousness about my awareness, which doesn't allow the excuse my language here, but doesn't allow the kind of the bullshit to kind of ego bullshit, to cover my deep seeking. And so that consciousness and that connection and all about, the creating, it's almost the realization that moving through life is sequence and moment after moment of connection, whether that's with our work or with our families or with our bodies or with our environment that we're in. And most significantly, a lot of us are so disconnected. And that's often where we come from, this state of disconnect, not through a fault and not through ignorance. More often than not, it's through protection, I feel. And so when I look back at my life, I just think, oh my God, I was just seeking connection all the time. And now I look and go, oh, it's, have that connection in, gather that connection in. That for me is yoga. That for me is when we connect to something bigger than ourselves with the crystal sound, with energy work. Walking in the forest, it's connecting with nature. It's connecting with something much bigger than my intellectual mind. And so this consciously creating connection is, for me, it's like the golden thread that weaves not only my past together, but I feel it weaves us as a human race together. It might sound a bit like a bit big, but actually for me, it's like really fundamental. Every day, Lisa, connect every day, consciously create connection, even if it's just a moment of sitting with my feet planted on the ground, doing 5 minutes of yoga, and that may just look like a bit of a spinal rotation there and a little bit of a stretch, and that's it. I've consciously created connection. Or a touch to my dogs, holding his head and just connecting with his head, or looking at my children before they run off to school. It's that for me, I feel as though that's me being present in my life. That's me consciously creating connection in what I do. And I think that is the bond that connects us all. And for sure, that's what I wish to bring to people with the work that I do.
Oh, that's beautiful. So connection to ourselves lets us be present, so we can feel the connection towards the situations and people and earth and nature and everything.
Yeah. And it's, we need tools, darling. We need tools to know, gosh, if we were born into this world and had faith and trust in ourselves, that's the and that kind of, that ability to move in self-trust and in almost ownership of who we are. But we have our life full of turbulence and trauma and stuff that really comes in and it shakes us up. And from my side as an adult, it's almost like, okay, so what tools can I bring in to allow me to unfurl a little, allow me to untie those kind of protective bounds? And, and those tools are from my side and from the women that I connect with in different communities, the tool of nature. She's like the biggest tool of all, and she's here to guide us. And whether that is, yes, going in, walking in forests, or going outside on standing on grass, or feeling your feet planted on the ground, or whether it's, for me, working with essential oils. That's one of the things I'm working with oils, because they feel like they're kind of like, it's a tool, but they're a bridge that link us to nature. They literally bring all of that wisdom of nature into a bottle, and that process then of applying those oils to your skin, or to breathe them in and to get them into your circulatory system in some way, that is it's a tool. Those oils are a bridge that link nature to our very experience as a woman in living our modern life, behind a laptop, in an office, in a car, in the kitchen, when we're not out there in the forest or on the mountain or swimming in that beautiful lake in Switzerland. Those are kind of dream states that I have, that I would love for us all to have every day, but most of us don't. And so having tools around us that connect us to the source of that beauty, of that strength, of that our natural state, I think is really, really important. And you and I know, as yoga teachers, yoga is another tool. Yoga and meditation, they are both tools. The crystal sound bowls, they are tools. They are conduits almost to invite us to step into a different state. Working with our body in an energetic way is another tool to help us bring a deeper connection to our body, our mind, our metaphysical self, our energetic self. So I think it's almost like, maybe we need to get a tool belt, like a carpenter or a builder. They have their tool belts, and I think as a modern woman now, we need really robust, holistic tools in our tool belt, so that we can live the modern life, the life of, multitasking and so many pulls upon our time and our energy, so we don't burn out every day, so we don't get to 50 and go, oh my God, well, what now? My body's changing, my head is changing, what, I'm depleted, I don't know now. It's like, well, actually, let's just see what new tools you need. Let's see what new bridges we need to cross over to find ourselves at these different stages in our lives.
So talking about menopause, wonderful. I love that bridge thing. Actually, I wrote a book last year about finding your inner happiness planet, your inner essence, your inner being, however you want to call it. And I also think that it's like all those tools are bridges. So that's nice that you said that too. Talking about menopause, what do you feel women need during menopause, knowing that there's a big variety because we are all different, but maybe there are similarities within the woman reaching towards you.
Definitely. And it astounds me, actually, when I think of menopause and I think of all of the different experiences and the different ages that we are as women when we start to experience changes in our hormones, and then this kind of this pivotal time when our cycles stop and we are classed as being in menopause because we no longer have our cycle. The physiological similarities in terms of our symptoms, in terms of how we feel with our body, the changes that happen to our body, to our mind, to our confidence, to our energy. There are so many similarities. And yet, again, this word nuance, there's so many subtle differences between each one of us, depending on our journey to that time. So, my journey in menopause is obviously different and unique to me because my puberty and my my hormones through pregnancy, the pregnancies I had, but actually, Sylvia, going back even further, I'm astounded every time I listen to a podcast or read. I'm an avid reader. I have too many books.
Me too.
So many books. It's like, and I try and remedy that by getting audio books, but then I go, I've just got to get the book as well. I have to get the book. So I kind of get the audio and the book. And a beautiful, a recent podcast I was listening to, one of the speakers, she was actually talking about epigenetics. And, the fact that a woman's experience in menopause, we can actually go right back to before conception. Like before we were actually conceived, the state of our mother's hormonal state, the state of our mother's stress levels 3 months before we as a woman, we were conceived, will impact our experience now as a menopausal woman. And so even that alone makes me go, okay, I need that unpacked. How does that even work? And very briefly, because I am not trained in this field to talk at great length, but if I can just unpack it a little bit, this is all about genetics. It's all about genes. It's all about the memories within our cells. And so if we think back to our mother in pregnancy, the state of mind, the state of her physical health and well-being, if she was in a stressful situation 3 or 4 months before conceiving us, then her cells are going to be full of cortisol. She's going to have a very different physiological state for then us to be conceived. And for her genes to then be passed into us, obviously, for us to be born into her, we are holding on to that genetic makeup throughout pregnancy, throughout our childhood. And it is known that, we have that ancestral genetic patterning, not just from our mother, but from our grandmother and so on. So all of this to say that when I get to 50 and I think of my menopause experience, it's not just about now and how I'm coping with it now. It's not just about the previous decade, the time 40s to 50s, how I managed stress or what kind of a lifestyle I had. It's beyond that. It's how my puberty was. It's how the hormones in my pregnancy emerged. But it's actually beyond that. It's actually, it can go back and back. And this is what I'm astounded by when we talk about menopause, because that's how unique it is, darling. That's how unique our menopausal experience can be. It's not just about this moment, how we're dealing with it now. And therefore, working with our menopause isn't just about, well, let's just give you that solution and you'll be fine. and equally, this isn't about this isn't about, oh my God, I'm going to need to go back to pre-birth. I better ask how my mum was when she conceived me. It's not about that. It's actually about having this understanding of the complexity of ourselves as a human being, as a woman, and then actually looking, well, now what can I do now to support myself on a physiological level, on a physical level, on an energetic level. Let me think of, let me look back at the last few years and think, how am I doing with the stress thing? Have I been really chilled, or actually has stress been really prevalent in my life? And I got to say, 99% of us right now are going to say, yeah, I had a lot of cortisol spinning around my system for probably 10, 15, 20 years before I got to menopause. And so can we do something about that? Yes, we can. Through epigenetics, through knowing that we can change, our physiology now, through looking at the toxins in our environment, through looking at the toxins in that we take in on our skin, what we eat, actually actively taking conscious rest, a lot of rest now, really looking at our relationship with ourselves, looking at our mindset, looking at how we can really work with of having much more of a compassionate version of ourselves now, as opposed to a pointy finger, a dominant relationship. So menopause for me feels a time of absolute self-exploration and self-evolvement, because it brings us to a place where we go, oh, okay, well, things are changing and I feel different to how I did before. And let me just get to know myself a bit more. Let me get to understand what's not working for me anymore, and what are the remedies I can put in place to support me to feel more robust, to feel more connected. And sweetheart, as a holistic practitioner, that means let's explore all of it. It doesn't mean just having natural solutions. It absolutely means, having conversations with your medical practitioner for support with estrogen and progesterone, if that is where you feel everything's fallen off the cliff. But it also means absolutely let's look at the changes that may necessarily need to be put in place. It may need you to really look at how you are treating yourself. It may need you to stop more often throughout the day and check in. It may need you to bring all of those tools that we talked about more here, as opposed to, I mustn't forget to go to yoga once a week. It actually is like, you need it every day. Or you need to sit every day, or you need to take yoga nidra every day. Or maybe those oils, bring in those oils more frequently throughout the day to bring you back. It might mean having conversations with your partner, and actually, it's called a transition. Because we are transitioning. A bit wobbly then.
Yeah, the internet got a little bit wobbly. Well, you need to, I got that we are in a transition, but there's a little part that was cut out when you said we need to talk to our partner, and I didn't get that, the rest of the sentence.
I think, those of us who are in relationship with, whether we're a husband, whether we have a wife, whether we are in whether we have family, or whether we've got, significant relationships within our immediate sphere, I think it's also important that we open up and we say, I'm changing. My needs are changing. And rather than hiding, because I think that's a really important thing at this stage in our lives where there's this almost a withdrawal, so our hormones changing, and whether we, our estrogen is dropping and different types of estrogen are kind of coming into play, where maybe we are really fed up of all of the things that we were expected to do for the last 20, 30 years. We don't want to do them anymore. And it's known that, estradiol is the more dominant hormone that we've had for like 20, 30, 40 years, which has been like the one which is like, yeah, I'm going to make sure everything's fine. I'm going to carry on mothering. My maternal instincts are really strong. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to keep everybody happy. And then it is known at the time of menopause that particular hormone drops significantly. And then we're left with this thing of, I don't want to do any of that anymore. I want to go to my cave. I don't actually want to cook dinner every night. I actually need to do things for me. And is that wrong? Who am I? Who is this woman that, last year was fine with doing all of that, but now I have different needs. And yes, it's chemical. We have a different chemical, hormonal environment happening at this time. And so are we okay to actually state our new needs and to say, I'm a little bit done here. Can we negotiate things a little more? Because I actually need a lot more time on my own, or I really would love to go to a retreat on my own with my girls, or actually, can we do a lot more sharing of things that I used to do most of? And this is, us stepping into our crone. This is us stepping into our years where things are going to be different, and it needs conversation, or else we might feel as though we're losing the relationship, because we're no longer fulfilling the needs that they expect us to fulfill anymore. But I think to have conversation and to consciously create connection around this change with people around us is really important, so that they don't feel like, oh my God, where's mom? Where's she gone? We've lost her. It's like, actually, I'm still here, but I'm very different. And I'm going to need a little bit of support from you, which actually will look like a change of roles here. And so I think that's what I was meaning. I think the importance of it's not just an inward journey. I think it's really important that we kind of go, yeah, the menopause, well, this is it. This is what it looks like. And it's gonna mean a little bit of change around here as well.
Yeah, that is so true. Plus, what I feel is that it's a time where if we pay attention to our body and we can learn how to feel what she needs, we get kind of an empowerment to say what we need and what we want. And I think that is like unwrapping some layers where we tried to fit in and where we tried to be loved because of what we do, not because of what we are. So that is what I feel. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull off another layer and not going to do this anymore, not going to fulfill those needs of you anymore, not going to fulfill this version that you loved of me anymore, because this is how I'm feeling right now. And it's like a little bit becoming more raw, but also becoming more of ourselves. That's how I feel it.
Oh, totally. And you know what's feel? I almost feel, hot flushes. When I was experiencing a lot of hot flushes, I literally felt as though my skin was like a snake skin. Yeah. It was like the heat from my body. Oh, although it would feel like I would flush and it would feel sweat. I would feel, the moist, but I would actually also feel this almost like a oh my God, I'm shedding. I'm just shedding the layers. I am shedding. And it was like my skin was literally burning off and dissolving, and another layer would be exposed. And you're so right. It felt raw, and it would feel tender, and I would feel exposed, and I would feel like I needed to cover up because I didn't really know this new me coming out. But at the same time, I could not stop her coming out. And actually, she needs to come out. She needs to burn through those layers. And so that's absolutely the same that I experienced, almost this kind of shedding and this unveiling. And what sometimes we may feel we need to do is quickly put a big coat on, quickly cover us up. You know, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna carry on, and I'm gonna put this coat on. And I've done that. And what I've noticed, it's almost like, oh my God, get off. Oh, now I can breathe again. And it's like that. It's like this, oh, thank God. And I don't know what this new me looks like. And I don't know how she's going to move through the next few years. And it might mean dropping, friendships and relationships and businesses and contracts and all of the things that we've been like holding and putting on. We might need to just go, do you know what? I just need to find what really, really resonates with me right now. And the menopause, this pause, this time for pause, this is the gift that menopause offers us. And whether we are 40 when we experience it, or early menopause, or whether we're 50 or 60, I truly feel like it's a gift. She is a gift that we shouldn't walk away from, or fear, or hide, or camouflage. I just think she's such a powerful gift, actually. And the woman that we are, when we allow her to come through, is really powerful. On so many levels.
Oh, that is so beautiful and so inspiring. I feel that too. I feel that the more I give myself the permission to do my thing, to unlearn the need to fulfill all the duties, and the need to please, and the need to be busy, unlearning all that, learning rest, there's another force coming through, which is more subtle and yet very strong. So I really love that. And it's like I wrote you this after our session because I felt this so relaxing. So we need to talk a little bit about your work with the bowls and the oils, as we are now in the second half of this podcast. But I felt so relaxed. I was like walking on clouds. And I feel like it kind of reminded me of some inner nature to make my life more beautiful. I don't know how to better explain it. It's really about things that feel nice on my body, that look nice, that are nice to touch, like the beauty of not stuff, the beauty of our daily life, of the daily rituals, and the things we use often, to really embrace those and to see, is this a version I will really want to use every day, or am I trying to have a cheap version where it's not good for me? You know what I mean? So that was really interesting because I know I like nice things, but it was like kind of like rest made me feel that it's a part of me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. And it's I equate that in a sense of when we think of the work of the alchemy crystal bowls and the essential oils, and to our subtle energy, there is such a there's a subtle awareness, and you mentioned it there, that when we connect to our essence, when we relax, or when we give ourselves permission to stop the busyness and to go within and to be guided to go into that place by exquisite beauty, which actually are the essential oils, and the exquisite beauty that is the sounds of the alchemy crystal bowls that I work with, but equally, this can be the exquisite beauty of listening to a bird and her song, you know, the bird song, or just stopping and looking at the flower. Or again, for me, it always comes back to nature. It always comes back to nature. You know, I've worked in fashion for a few years, and I love style. You know, I love working with beauty. And you're right, darling. So often we forget to embrace beauty, and we forget, and we become really mundane, and our actions become really ordinary. And that has been another, like with menopause. And I just thought, oh my God, we're extraordinary. We are totally extraordinary, women and men, human beings. But for me, the journey into, you know, womanhood, but, you know, the wise woman years of menopause, it was almost like the gate opening into this extraordinariness of who we are. And that is absolutely to do with connecting with our subtle self, not our, you know, you know, the terminology of subtle and gross, you know, but I don't mean that in an awful way, but the physicality of us. Actually, it's about embracing the subtleness of who we are. And, you know, the work that your beautiful experience that we had when we worked together, and we worked with certain specific oils on specific points on the body, whether on the hand, we brought our awareness to the subtlety of essential oils and breathing them into our system. But we also connected to our subtle energy body, which again, it's invisible to our eyes, but we sense it, we feel it when we allow ourselves to step into that bigger version of ourselves, that expanded version of ourselves. And that's the version of ourselves that is felt by everybody, not necessarily seen, but that beautiful version of us is felt, or that pained version of us is felt. You know, whether when we have a conversation with somebody, or when we're sitting and somebody comes into the room and they might look okay, but we feel, oh, there's something going on. There's an energetic thing of, oh, hang on, there's something going on. And we might kind of say, you okay? Yes, I'm fine. But we know, we feel. And it's when we let go of the, you know, the how we think we should show up, and we actually are able to connect to that sense of our subtle sense. And when we start to work with our energies, I truly feel we can bring in those qualities of beauty and awareness and flow and robustness for ourselves. And for sure, working with alchemy crystal bowls, again, the names of them, alchemy, it's this beautiful alchemizing process that happens with a physical object such as quartz crystal, and the sound that emanates from that bowl, which the sound has an impact, it has a resonance on our body, on our cells, and it actually palpates our physical cells. So this invisible sound, because we can hear it and we can feel it, but we can't see it, it has a physical response to our body. And those cells are then palpated, and we are then taken into almost a kind of a blossoming experience on a cellular level. And that energetically takes us into this beautiful experience of a journey of release and replenishment. And when you combine that with essential oils on specific points on our bodies, which are known as, you know, our meridians, are like the almost the channels that carry this energetic energy through our body. And when you apply an essential oil, you're weaving in that energetics of that oil into your system. It's like a rainbow of delights that we can't see, but we can sense. And I think when we experience something, when we give ourselves permission to experience this beauty, it absolutely has an impact on how we are when we leave that session, when we leave that moment of contemplation, and when we walk back into our day. And yes, we want to choose beautiful things to adorn our body. We become really more, it's like, I want to bring more plants into my studio. I want to bring more crystals in. I want to bring more organic vegetables into my food. There it is. How beautiful. Yeah, look. I mean, they're everywhere. I kind of have... I know. And this is true. Because we are always resonating, vibrating. Again, we know when we hear a piece of music that we either go, oh, turn that off. Oh, I don't like it. I don't. Or we go, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Oh. And we cry when we hear a piece of music, or we sing so loud, or when we hear someone's voice and they are soothing and calming. Oh, it's like we are bathed, we're hugged by that calm, that beautiful resonance that we experience. And all of this, darling, it's all this subtlety, this subtle awareness. And I just love the fact that we are now more open to bringing that into our lives. Not meaning we need to live in a monastery, or we need to meditate all the time, or we need to always be listening to crystal bowls or whatever. It's not that. Well, I know. Maybe we...
Well, why not?
What am I saying? Of course. But I feel we are now becoming more open to bringing more of those beautiful, subtle modalities, because we know that in their subtlety, they are actually really powerful, really powerful. And they can really support us to become, again, more connected to our own resilience and our own inner coherence. Because isn't that, when I think of, in fact, when I think of my language or our language, we so often use language concerned with sound and music. We'll say harmony, I want to feel more harmonious within myself or relationships, or, I actually feel really in tune with that person. There's a lot of musical references, and those references are to do with the subtleties of understanding our innate nature, which is about our subtle sense of who we are and our energetic awareness. So although all of the sound and the crystals and the oils, it might seem like it's a little bit out here, but actually it's almost like it's part of us as a human being. It's something that I love to remember is that we, in our bones, we have crystal formations in our bones, and it's actually known, it's called apatite. This particular crystal formation in our bones is called apatite. Not appetite as in hungry, but apatite as in a crystal. And so when we are connecting to a crystal, or when we are receiving the crystal sounds, that's a direct, it's like hi, yeah, this sounds good, this feels good, because that's part of me. We are part of Mother Earth. We are part of Mother Earth. We go back to her, and we are part of her, and our bones are part of her too. So for me, it's actually about connecting to our trueness. And again, coming back to that point of bringing in tools, these are just other tools that help us find that sense of me, of you.
Yes, and I think that's so important, because I feel that if in menopause or not, lots of people, especially I feel women, but I might not it's because in my community there are mostly women too.
Yeah.
But I feel that a lot of people are waking up and feeling that the need to hurry and be busy, and the need to maybe sometimes also shy away from feelings and numb them, that it's all like we are searching for something outside, some achievement, some peace. When this is done, I will be there, and then I will be relaxed, which will never happen because the next thing will pop up. And a lot of people have already seen through that game and now are longing for tools, as you said, like a toolbox to give ourselves and receive the nurturing we need to accomplish our daily life. So coming to that, as you've pointed out so beautifully, as you know, I'm totally into coaching, which is also a lot of working in the brain and just discovering where is the belief system that is blocking me from doing my thing or stuff like that. And this is maybe why I loved so much to be just laying, not thinking, not anything, just you gave me some oils on some points, gave me a little protocol to get away with. And then I received a private session. So that's one possibility to work with you, isn't it? Maybe
absolutely. And that's the joy of the last couple of years, that, we've all needed to adapt and kind of, work in different ways. And one of the things that I realized was actually the work that I do with the sound translates beautifully through Zoom.
Really great. I worked that. I needed headphones. You need headphones to get the great experience. And it was just beautiful.
Yeah. And this is it. And this is, when energy travels, there's no time, energy is pervasive. And so the experience of connection that we have together right now, talking here, it feels as though we're sat in the same room. For me, I feel your energy. I know you feel mine. And there's this beautiful connection. I feel held within this space. And it's exactly the same, when I work with clients. Yes, it's beautiful to come to my studio and to have one-on-one together. But more and more, I'm working in an online way, and it's powerful. It's so powerful. So that's one way that I invite, people now to have one-to-one sessions with me. Literally, as you and I did, you set yourself up in a beautiful nest. We talk beforehand to kind of connect in. Microphone set up. I have the bowls, and we connect. And then I guide you through the beautiful practice. So it's a beautiful practice that can be translated over. At this, the internet is a little bit unstable, and obviously, but yeah.
Okay, there we had a little hanging there, but I think what I got is that we set ourselves up a beautiful nest, like I did. Then we receive a practice. We hear that sound, and then we feel the deep restoration and nurturing, which can happen on that subtle levels. And I also want to point out, for those who have never experienced crystal bowls is right. I don't want to.
Yes, bowls. Yeah. Perfect.
One can also start, which of course isn't that intensive, but what really helped me too was I have 3 of your recordings already. I bought them. And so what we can also do is, if we do a little yoga nidra break or some other restoration break, to have a recording and then set ourselves up and listen to your beautiful work.
Absolutely. And I purposefully recorded them. I had my beautiful friend who's a sound engineer, and he brought the most incredible microphones in, and it feels as though when you put your headphones on and you receive them, it feels like you're in the room with me. Yeah,
that's so true. That's so true.
And you can hear me breathing, and I've not edited. We chose not to edit out any of my breath, or my wrists sometimes click as I move. But it's when you're with me in the room, you hear all of that. It's all of that when you're with me and you experience. And the other thing I wanted to say with sound healing, it's so, for those of us who might find, as you said with coaching, for those of us who might find meditation a little tricky because maybe we've never found it, it's worked for us, or our mind just can't stop and there's a lot of noise. Sound healing is beautiful for supporting you to drop into a really deep state of rest. The sound waves, they affect the brain waves. And so we are quite quickly actually taken into a delta state, a deep state of relaxation, where maybe in meditation it might take us quite a long time to get to. And so if we maybe have not got a meditation practice, but we're seeking some time where we can feel deeply connected, the sound downloads, which are 10, 15, 20 minutes, are beautiful as that to give you a pause in your day. So yeah, they are lovely.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time today, Lisa, for your beautiful work. It's already an hour, so we need to close now. Not like this. So thankful that you took the time. Is there anything else you want to say? Feel free.
Well, it's to thank you, darling. It's to thank you for connecting. And I know that it's the first time you've experienced this work that I've done with sound and with oils and the oils protocol. And you are a delight. You are an absolute joy. And this is part of my belief is that when we come from this heart of space of trust, we will connect with women, with communities, with relationships that are just so nourishing. So all of this work has led me to creating more relationships with other women who are also walking the same path as me. And, we are all walking, as Rumi said, we're all walking home together. And it's this, we absolutely are all walking together. So it's my joy to be here. And I want to thank you for giving me this connection to your community. And so, please, join me through Instagram, and my website dives a little bit deeper into all of the other ways that I can support you or work together. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to connect to you more and to your community as a whole.
Thank you. And I will put, of course, all the links to your website and your Instagram in the show notes and in the blog post accompanying this recording. If you want to see us, you can watch us on YouTube. I will put that up there too. And if you feel that there's somebody close to you that you would want to listen to us, then just feel free and share the recording of the podcast. Lisa, thank you. And you all who are listening, have a wonderful day. Take your times. See you next week. Hey und pst, es gibt einen neuen Podcast von mir, der ursprünglich auf einer von mir geschaffenen Kursplattform nur zur Verfügung gestellt wurde. Er heißt Zurück zur Natur und ich beschreibe darin, wie ich ätherische Öle und Supplements nutze und was ich den Leuten, die das mit mir entdecken, rate. Wenn du also Lust hast, auf diesem Weg auch mir ein bisschen zuzuhören, dann findest du Zurück zur Natur überall da, wo du auch diesen Podcast findest. Viel Spaß beim Zuhören.